I started in the Atlassian ecosystem almost 7 years ago. March will mark 7 years, and actually they offered, there was a job offer in Deezer, and I applied to it, and I started 7 years ago. And that's how I got introduced to the Atlassian ecosystem, and I was the support specialist for our Deezer apps. So it was pretty, I went into battle like right away. So it was really good. It was really nice. I like challenges.
Yeah. Did you have any exposure to Atlassian prior to applying to Deezer and joining them?
Yes. I did have some exposure. It was actually Jira, when I used to work in Canada, in a video game company, and they used Jira quite heavily. And that was when I was introduced to Jira. I think it was around 2012, I believe, and we used Jira quite heavily, but then I moved to Spain, and then the company that I used to work to before they also used Jira, but that was Jira Cloud, which it wasn't the same as a server. Back in Canada, it was server, in Spain, it was already cloud, and my coworkers didn't actually know how to use Jira. So since I was the one that was a little more familiarized with Jira, they asked me to do a little bit of tweaking around, with the administration. So I had to learn a lot, and I was introduced to Jira. We didn't use Confluence. We didn't use any other tool but Jira. So it was really cool. And when I started in Deezer, we started using the rest of the other tools, which introduced me to the full ecosystem, which was awesome.
When you first got familiarized with Jira and I guess just the Atlassian apps, what were your initial thoughts? And I typically get two responses to this answer, so I'm curious what you'll give me, but usually people loved it instantly, jumped right in, and they were sold on it. And ever since they've been working in the Atlassian space. And the other answer is they hated it, and then eventually they grew to like it. So I'm curious what your experience there was.
I think I'm on the second group, because at first I didn't like it that much. I cannot say that I hated it because it actually helped us track everything, and see our daily tasks, and move on to the tasks that we had for the week or the month, and so on. But it was like, I don't know, I had to learn about it. We need to learn how to change the statuses, how to fill in everything. Maybe the comments was the first thing that where do I comment here? It's obvious. It was obvious that it was at the bottom of the ticket or at the bottom of the task. But at some point it was, how do I comment? Can I tag someone? Can I do this? Can I do that? How I'm boss know about this, and so on. And there were a lot of questions, but actually, and eventually I grew up to liking it, and to use it every day, because right now and for the past, I think it's already been 9-10 years, that I've been using Jira every day. So it's, I'm loving it right now, and I wouldn't like it to change, or I wouldn't like to change to other things, even though they're similar things, but yeah, I like it right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the similar group of where I started using it, and my first job was like IT support, very basic, and we used Jira Server, and I did not like it at all. I was like, what is this? This is terrible. Like, why is this so outdated? And all the typical stuff that you'll not like about a ticketing software when you're in IT help desk. And then I kind of morphed into more of a sysadmin role, and then started implementing Jira within an organization and some Confluence. And then that kind of morphed into me loving Jira along the way. And I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed for myself was the capability of the platform and like the integrations with all their other tools. Those were like the couple of big things for me that really sold the platform and that I really enjoyed about it. Was there anything in particular that you saw along the way that kind of convinced you that it was a really great platform to use?
Yeah, well, actually, when I started using it with Jira Service Management, Service Management is a great application for Jira, and when I was doing the support for the apps, everything was there, we integrated with other third-party apps, that actually helped us, on our daily jobs, follow up on the queues. The queues are really useful in Jira Service Management, and I don't know, searching for all those issues that I remember that we had a case where, I don't know, it was, we had a case where we had a similar case a few months ago. So you could search and you could provide more information to the user. It was really cool, all the searching, the applications, the scalability, because right now we grew up, and every day we're receiving more support requests every day, and it's pretty amazing how it grew, and I'm liking it. And other third-party apps, not only our apps, I can say that our apps are really amazing, but other third-party apps are also really helpful. For example, I don't know, the reporting apps like ECBI, it's crazy. Script Runner is something that you're gonna need when you have a really big Jira instance, and it's I don't know, I like all of it. I like all the the growing stuff, the applications, the whatever you can do every day, and you find out that you can do several stuff. Automation. What about automations? Automations are awesome. It saves time. It saves a lot of hassling, with the tickets and stuff like that. It's great. Right now I think that we're in a really sweet spot on the Jira usefulness and so on.
Yeah, totally agree. And one of the things that I've been loving more about it recently is the way that you can pull in pretty much every team into like a work management project, from a marketing team to an HR team to your typical development teams, that you could pull on your essentially your entire company to use Confluence, to use Jira, and then have kind of one tool for everything rather than 5 tools for all those things that you previously had before.
Exactly. Yes. That's amazing. That everyone can work on Jira. That's a really big problem solver.
Yeah, totally. At Deezer, you guys do both essentially consulting and app development.
Yeah.
Most companies that I've talked to or worked with or seen in this Atlassian space do one or the other. So I'm curious, why both for you guys?
I believe that, well, they told us the history a while ago, how Deezer became an app developer. And the thing is that Deezer was providing consultancy to different companies in Spain, and at some point, clients, these customers, were requiring some kind of, I don't know how you say, custom apps, that would fix or how you say, that would fix the gaps that Jira has. Jira is a really good product, but at some point it has these gaps that cannot be filled with anything else than a custom app or a third-party app. So they didn't find a third-party app that could fix that gap that they had. So Deezer provided a custom app, and we decided to commercialize it at some point. And this app is Project Track. Project Track is all about project level information that is really useful in order to track your projects. Remember the hierarchy. In Jira, it's projects, epics, tasks, and subtasks, and so on. And they were missing the project information. So we created this custom app. We decided to commercialize it, and it was a really big boom. So we started commercializing Project Track. Then someone else asked to be able to export more than 1,000 issues every time that they needed to export them, so we created exported, and then so on. We created different apps that are not anymore in the Atlassian marketplace, but right now we have a new app that is fully Forge, it's fully developed in Forge in the marketplace, that is called Budgety. And also it's about different clients' needs, that we say, if this client, well, not only one client, but many clients ask for this kind of solution, and we try to provide it. We don't have that much time in order to develop many apps like other companies can, but we created Budgety, and right now is also available. It's been a year and a little months that it's been up in the marketplace, and we're really happy with Budgety, because what we focus also is trying to provide a solution for the client, but also not, I don't know how I can express this with really nice words, but do not make them hassle with the configuration, with a lot of different information, making the app simple, yet try to solve the problem that they have, you know? So that's why we create these apps. Project Track is a really simple app that goes straight to the point. Budgeting does the same. And that's what most of the clients are needing, and some of our clients are needing. So that's what we aim for, simplicity. We do provide the consultancy part, and also we try to be simple yet go to the point and provide those solutions. And that's what we do also with the apps. We don't want to create a really big app that has a lot of information where the user almost gets lost in the information that they have, and the configuration. But being a Jira sysadmin, I believe that it's a really big thing, that there's not much of a configuration, that the configuration is simple enough in order to configure it for this group of users, right? So that's what we aim for.
That makes sense. And it sounds like pretty much all the apps you built are out of the need of a client or a customer, that there's a gap essentially within the Jira environment that you fill with that app.
Exactly.
Is there anything that you've built that you've wanted for yourself or internally that you found a gap and, you wanted that functionality and built just for you? Or is it an app that you published in the past? I'm curious, because I've kind of been in that place where I'm like, I wish this, Jira had this or had that, and I wish we could build an app for that. So I'm curious if you guys have done that.
Yeah, I think that what we built in the past was, it was named QSpot. It's a service management app that it was also really simple, and it would solve the problem that the clients were having. Like, imagine that you enter a ticket and you don't know when the team is going to answer you, So it creates a little bit of anxiety. You're saying, I have a problem, I don't know when is it going to be fixed. We provided the spot in the queue where this ticket is. It's really simple. It was something that we were trying to solve for our clients, because also clients, when they have a problem with Project Track, when it's a live app like Project Track Cloud is, they do need an answer, and a solution kind of right away, as soon as possible. So we created that in order to solve that problem. We were using it too, but at some point, people weren't needing it, and it was more expensive to maintain it than other things. And the other one was, sorry that I don't remember the name, but it was also it took a little bit of AI into it. GoMood. It was called GoMood. GoMood could read the sentiments, and the sentiments and the feelings of the client in order to provide a better support, a better service. And also we wanted to use that, because at some point, it's kind of difficult to read them, or maybe I was working in support for 5 years, and those 5 years taught me that you have to treat the client as if they were the only one, and they were the best clients in the world. You have to treat them as you like to be treated. So you don't want to go to Starbucks, and buy a coffee and they throw the coffee at you. You don't want that, so they treat you really well, and we want to provide that service, that support too. And one of the problems that we saw is, like, sometimes we don't understand, or we don't understand how the client is feeling. We know that it's feeling a little bit annoyed, that they have a problem, that they need a solution, and they have this anxiety and so on. But
So
we
you're
wanted.
saying there wasn't enough demand for this app when you initially created it?
Yes, exactly. There was a little bit of a demand, but we thought about it because also we thought that we were going to need it, and yes, and that was one of those, that is like something that we thought about, that thanks to the AI, we could get this information and we could provide a better support,
And that's like such a cool use case, though. I don't know. I guess it may not make sense for every company, but I feel like there are companies out there that would like a solution like that, especially very customer support heavy company.
Yeah, exactly. I believe so, and we believed that too. But yeah, well, AI is not cheap. It doesn't come cheap, and we had to discontinue GoMood just because we wanted to focus on improving the rest of our apps, because they're big, they're robust apps, even though they're simple, on the look and feel, they're really cool apps, and they needed a little bit more of work on them. So So yeah, maybe we come up with Go Mood later, throughout the years. But let's see.
Yeah, definitely let me know if you do. I'd love to try it out, see how it works and how accurate it is. I'd be really curious to see if we could actually sense some kind of urgency or like hesitancy from a customer's really cool use
Exactly.
case.
Cool. Nice. I'll let you know.
I'm curious a little about your consulting and Atlassian, support. What are the most common things that companies come to you for support?
In the solution side, I'm actually a little bit familiarized with it because sometimes, get use cases, and you get to learn about clients. But I believe that the most requested support that they will need is everything about migrations and integration with other systems that they have. Because whenever I want to learn about what the solution side is doing, the consultancy side is doing, it's all about implementing Jira, but they have to know that they have other systems. I don't know, accountability systems, accountability accounts with all the money, and stuff, and they need to get all that information into Jira too. So it's a lot of months of work. We have a lot of requests, in order to get those systems in those companies into the technological era. We're almost in 2025 right now, but they want to get better in the technological era, so they need Jira, they need these technological tools that allow them to be better, to be faster, to be more productive, and to make every team work in the same place. And they do also a lot of training about Jira. There's big companies that still don't know about Jira, and their workers do not know about Jira. So those trainings are really long trainings, and they really need it, so they're desperate about getting training, so those are the big things, knowing what to get from the Atlassian ecosystem, implementing it, and training. It's the three big things,
How does the training part work? Is it typically group sessions or one-on-ones? What's your typical approach to that?
I believe that it's group sessions mostly with the company. They set up group sessions where they train for maybe a week or maybe more weeks, several weeks, in order for them to have all the information about the Atlassian tools that they're providing, not only Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket, and so on. And from what I've heard, they tell me some of them are really good, and people are really interested, but when you get some clients, they're kind of hesitant, but at the end, since the training explains what they're facing, they accept it, and it's everything is good. Everyone's happy and everything's good. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the benefit to doing like a live training session or group session? Because obviously there are great resources out there, Atlassian University, great YouTube videos, some recorded and documented content from Atlassian and from others on Jira specifically. What's the benefit of going into a group training session or, a more one-on-one individual training session with a group like yours?
I think that it's the ability to answer the questions right away. The Atlassian University can answer your questions, but it might take a while, and also YouTube videos can answer your question, but you might need to search a little bit, you might need to dig into YouTube in order to get those answers. But one-on-one and group sessions and training sessions, I think that are really good in order to solve the questions right away. You have to maybe you tell them how to create a project, the project process, and so on. And after that, you ask you ask if they have questions, and you answer the questions right away, and they go with something learned, something answered, and it's. I think that it's the one-on-one things. It's one of the things that we lost when we went a little bit full remote. When everyone went up full remote, for once, not for once, for me, I'm missing a lot that interaction with other coworkers. Like, remember that we had to talk about this, otherwise through our communications app, it's like, okay, I'm going to send him a message, and maybe the other person doesn't see that message after a while, and so on. So I think it's the one-on-one phase, and the possibility to answer the questions right away, which is one of the biggest parts.
That makes sense. When did those trainings typically happen if you're working with a company to implement Jira? Is it pre-implementation or post-implementation or somewhere in the middle?
I believe that it's post-implementation, most of them. I think that there's also cases that is pre-implementation, where they don't, where they don't want to face the app before having all the answers and so on. That's the pre one. But I would have to ask around. But I have heard that the trainings are happening post implementation. So it's something that they so they can just jump into Jira, and test it out. Everything that they learn.
Yeah, I've actually used Deezer's apps before, Project Track in particular, and I think I've used one or two others. And one thing that I typically do when I look for a Jira app is I go through and install a bunch of them, try them all out, and see which one I like best. I'm curious if you, as an app developer, have maybe a different approach or a shortcut way to find out which app might be better suited right off the bat without actually jumping in and trying it.
Well, the thing is that actually jumping in and trying it is one of the best parts, for me at least. It's the most fun part, to see what solutions are and what the app can provide to us. It's, for me, I'm talking about my experience, and for me it's super fun, to install the app and then seeing if it fits or not. If I have questions, I will contact the support team for that app. And can I do this? I tried it out, and I found out that I cannot do this. Is it possible at some point? Well, if they say yes, I will go back and try it. If they say no, I'm sorry, but it's not my fit. I don't need it. And what we're finding out, is like we have a lot of customers that do the same. Most of them. We also have the ones that do not install it yet, before, but they ask questions before. They don't install it before asking questions. So they ask questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do that? Will this solve my problem? I have this problem. Will this app solve it for me? And if yes, they will install it. And if not, we want to be really, sincere, and we want to face that saying no is also a good thing. I'm sorry, but for your instance and the way that you're using Jira, maybe our app is not a good fit for you. We'll go back, we'll get that information, and we'll try to work on trying to be the app for that client. But for now, we need to go really be really sincere and say, like, I'm sorry, but this is not a fit. But I really like when people say to me also, it's like, I appreciate when they're sincere, and they're specific, and they say the way that you're using that, the problem that you have cannot be solved with our app. It brings me, a really good feeling that I'm trying to work with a really good company, and that the app is and the developers of the app are really, really good and sincere, and they're not trying to sell anything to me. And it's really good. So trying it out for me is really fun.
So speaking of trying out those apps, there's a recent change that Atlassian made in the past couple of months that makes it much more difficult to uninstall and remove an app from your Jira environment. And I saw one of my friends, I think I had him on the podcast before as well, and he had a LinkedIn post that said a lot of his app installs have dropped pretty significantly from, previously when you could easily uninstall to when after the change happened, and it's a lot more difficult. And the conclusion he drew was that people are a little bit more hesitant to try out an application when they know it's a lot harder to install. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, and if you've experienced something similar in the past couple of months.
I think that could be a reason, why the installs have been dropping, but I don't think that is the main reason. I think that we're passing through, the marketplace, the Atlassian marketplace vendor are passing through, different, seasons and different waves and different kind of places in time that we face different positions of our apps. Sometimes we get a lot of installs, sometimes we don't get those many, but I have other reasons, and they're not the way that Atlassian is implementing this being difficult to uninstall the app, being a little bit more difficult. For me, I don't find it like a blocker in order for me to go and try the app. It's because at some point you're going to be able to uninstall it. I found out with other apps, that at some point you cannot install it right away, and I think that it's a problem that they have in cloud, that it's like, imagine that you're testing this app, and you uninstall it. And then you say, but I didn't try this other function, this other feature, so I need to install it again. So you're trying to install it right away, and you get a lot of problems. And we have clients that have problems with that. I had problems with several other apps in different instances, because as marketplace vendors, I don't know if you do, but I have a lot of instances. But yeah, I have data center instances in Docker. I have cloud instances, all over the place, because we want to try and we want to have information in different instances, and yeah, I found out that it's not such a blocker for me. The way that it's a little bit difficult to uninstall the apps. It is true, that it's a little bit more difficult, but at the end, you're going to be able to uninstall it, sorry. And yeah, but yes, I can see the point of your colleague,
Do you think it's a net benefit to not be able to uninstall the app, or from an app developer perspective? So you might limit the total number of installs, but you'll have maybe more people sticking around for longer and actually using the app, versus maybe having more installs up front and also having more uninstalls right away. What do you think is a better net benefit for you as an app developer?
I think that the benefit is like that they stay for longer and try the app. It's because sometimes we have seen that, I think that this happens to a lot of marketplace vendors, that they install the app without maybe not knowing the full potential that they can bring to their instances. But if they stay for longer and try the features that they were not looking for, if they try those, maybe they could help them better, and so on. So I think that if they could stay a little bit longer, in the app, yeah, but I don't think that making it more difficult to uninstall the app would make them stay longer, Yes. Maybe they will make them angrier, but yes. But not stay longer. Maybe they'll get angry and say, like, I'm not going to use it anyway. So,
I'm curious what the stats are on that. And I'm sure Atlassian has something on there and that they're tracking, and maybe they'll revert the change, or maybe they'll stick with it. I guess we'll kind of see over the next few months. But yeah, exactly. So I know some people get pretty angry when they install something and then they can't uninstall it. So that might be limiting, or a little bit more of a hesitation before installing something for some people. I know I'm kind of the same way. Again, I don't mind installing and then just uninstalling later. But I do know I work with some organizations and individuals that are just very, very opposed to it at this point, and they're very cautious with what they install now.
Okay. So we'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much about that.
Couple of rapid fire questions to kind of wrap things up. I've asked a few of my guests some of these questions, so curious to see some of your responses to these. So quick and short, I'll jump into the first one. Cloud or server?
Cloud.
All right. Favorite feature in Jira?
Right now, because it belongs to Atlassian, automation. Anything automatic with automations, that's a big deal.
That's a good one. I feel like that's one people don't think of as a feature, but I totally agree with you there. It's probably one of the best things that Atlassian and Jira have in their ecosystem.
Yeah, because it didn't belong to Jira first, but they were really smart enough, to buy automation from CodeBarrel, and apply it to Jira, by default. So it's nice, maybe, how do you say, blocking some of those, the number of automations, every day. Maybe I'm not that happy with that, but I can use it anyway. So automation.
Okay. Rovo, yes or no?
Yes. 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 It needs to improve, but yes.
Yeah, I agree. Biggest challenge when developing a new application?
Biggest challenge is understanding the customer needs every time. And, we really, everyone every developer, every marketplace vendor, every marketplace partner needs to understand perfectly what the customer needs. That's a big challenge there. Yeah.
Great point. Yeah. Most underrated feature in Jira.
Underrated feature in Jira. Well, I'm going to talk about Jira Service Management, but I love, everything that saves time. It's gold for me, and for me, canned responses. For Jira Service Management, they're gold for me. They used to be gold for me when I was in the support, even though I tweaked them and I wrote down a lot more stuff into them, when facing the customer responses in order to provide, like the first draft. That's amazing, man. Those were, and it's really underrated. People say like, no, okay, so you're going to sound like a robot. There's no need for you to sound like a robot. You just create some canned responses and then tweak them around. It's really cool. It will save you a lot of time. I think that right now you can automate some of those. So, linking the other question to this one, just think about it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I love the ability to pull in smart values too and have that integrated with those canned responses. That's been, I think, one of the biggest things of using those canned responses.
Exactly. Yes, the smart values are awesome too. Yes.
Favorite plugin could be your own. I'm guessing it's probably one of yours or not your own.
Yeah, yes. Right now, I'm really in love with Project Track. Project Track is a really big and powerful app. It's simple. It provides a lot of information, and you can use it to track your projects, and you can even use it for other different things. When you need to report, when you need to do calculations. It's an amazing tool in DC, and it's an amazing tool in cloud. And one of the latest ones, is Budgeting. I'm in love with Budget because it's a little app right now. We're evolving it, but Budget is also really good. But Project is my favorite. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This one might be a little bit more open-ended and a little bit longer, but where is Atlassian headed in the next couple of years?
That's a really big question. I think Atlassian is heading towards facing the customer a little bit more. In the past years, what I've seen is that Atlassian was mostly facing and solving problems for developers and partners, and maybe it was Atlassian always pays attention to the client, but they were paying most of their attention to developers and partners, and now I can see a big shift towards the customer. And I think that everything that we'll see in the future about new features, about new tools, is going to be customer first. And I think that it's a natural step, and it's a shift that we'll all have to adapt to, but it's okay because we all love challenges. So yes, facing the customer first, which is something that we all do every time, and Atlassian does. But I believe that Atlassian had different types of customers, meaning developers, and partners.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. I've noticed a lot of pivoting towards like Jira Service Management. A lot of the features there kind of taking on the big guys, ServiceNow, and others in the industry. So yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of pivot, especially in like the last last year or so. There's been a lot of new features released for JSM. A lot of their attention has gone there. I feel like over Jira and some of the other products, which isn't a bad thing. I love Jira Service Management, and I think it's a really great tool, and it's pretty robust. And I think at some point it's probably going to be the biggest service management tool in the industry.
I think so, yeah.
In a few years, we'll see. Who knows? But I definitely think they're putting in a lot more effort in there as of right now as well.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for jumping on and being here. It's been great talking to you and hearing a little bit about Deezer, some of your apps. And if someone wants to reach out to you guys for support or for your apps, where can they go to find you guys?
You can find us through LinkedIn. Deezer is there. You can find me in LinkedIn, Fede Baronti, and you can also go to the Deezer webpage, which is Deezer.com, and you'll find all our contacts right there, and in several other social media, like X, like YouTube, we have several videos in YouTube also. we've been doing also a few things for YouTube. So we're over there. So whatever you need, we'll be happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fede.
Thank you very much for having me, Josh.